Police Don't Stop Crime. We interviewed for a position on last Monday. A lot of different folks from the community. I want to say those names: Nancy C. Lopez, Justin A. Wright, William B. Wilmore, Wayna A. Dobson, Andre L. Harris, Letitia Bracey, John Johnson Jr., Kathleen R. Patterson, Charles B. Vincent, Davon M. Hall, that's me, Deborah E. Crake, Gary C. Lenarducci, Donald A. Farrell, James J. Taylor. Samuel L. Guy was not here for the interview, but he did apply, and he did qualify, of course. He was a former councilman, but he wasn't here. And Jeffrey A. Santoro. We all wanted to serve for probably the same reason, to help the community. I'm thankful for
recommendations of the Committee of the Whole. I will ask our Chief of Staff, Mona, to have our first interview candidate to come to the podium to my left, and I ask that you speak directly into the microphone.
And President Congo, on behalf of our Chief of Staff, I'm just going to state that the first name is Deborah Crack.
And please watch your step as you come up to the podium. And hopefully you will soon know the selected recommendation for this seat.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will have our second interview candidate come forward. It will be Mr. Davon M. Hall.
I first decided to start boxing when I saw some leaders in the boxing community that I felt could really inspire folks. Like I was inspired by Muhammad Ali. Outside of the ring, the peace, the fight for what was right, everything that my heroes did. Reuben Hurricane Carter. These guys inspired me by what they did outside the ring. Matthew Saad Muhammad. I care about the community, and as a council person, I can affect the change that I actually want to see. I could actually do what it is that needs to be done to help the most vulnerable. So my community, I believe, needs me to fight here on council more than I need to fight in the ring. So
I would try and find what would be the common ground. Certainly people are passionate about issues that they're supportive of, and I'd want to understand and empathize with those passions and see where, if we are disagreeing on opinion, then we could find a common ground and see where we could.
If I have to vote no on that legislation, I will, but if I can find a reason why this will benefit the city going forward, then I may support it. But the thing is to talk to my fellow council members, talk to the administration, look maybe even at what other cities are doing along the lines of this type of.
5 years. I live in a house at Monroe Place for the past 22 years. I'm a registered Democrat, and I have a passion for the city of Wilmington and everything that I do.
What do you view as the 3 top responsibilities of a city council member?
I'll answer it 2 ways. I think first and foremost, the answer.
And that our teachers are responsible for teaching, that makes it difficult. Our third thing for me would be opportunities for our young people. We don't provide them with a safe haven, then the streets will always be their outlet. And so we have to provide something for our young people.
The city established a Citizens Complaint Review Board, which is authorized to investigate complaints against law enforcement officers employed by the Wilmington Police Department. It makes reports of.
There'll be some times where we're just not going to agree. And that's okay too. It's not personal. This is the job that we are signed up to do. So if we don't agree, we can be respectful and just agree to disagree.
Okay. President Congo?
Thank you, and thank you for coming out today, and hopefully you will soon know our recommendations for this seat.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Our next candidate to be interviewed will be Samuel Guy. I don't believe that Mr. Guy is with us, so I'm going to go to our next candidate, who is Donald Farrell.
If you have a gun, it's not yours, not registered, you're doing 5 years. And I think that if we have enough of those instances, I think folks will get the message, especially our youth, that we're not playing.
How would you handle criticism from the public regarding a controversial piece of legislation that you are the lead sponsor of that was enacted into law?
Everything is about the greater good. And if it's about the greater good, and everybody's not going to be happy, and that's okay. But it's about the greater good for the city. And if you communicate with folks, and again, I'm going to say the neighborhood planning councils, which from the neighborhood planning councils, the civic associations, okay? If you maintain that communication with them and you know where they're coming from and they know where you're coming from, and if your powers of persuasion are okay, if you push, it's for the common good. You may not appreciate it now.
I'm sorry.
1 second, please. WITN is having a technical issue with the microphone. Just give us a minute, please. Thank you.
Okay.
I would add that to the top of my list and juggle the rest as I currently do.
I am a proud Democrat. So there you go. And if I may, since we have 2 minutes, I don't envy what you have to do here. This has been absolutely fascinating, listening to all offer their perspective on what it would take to be an at-large member. You are in a very challenging position because filling the shoes of Loretta Walsh are big shoes. And people like Ted Blunt from the past and people that I've admired living in this city. But I don't envy any of you because you do have a big job.
If you're not humble, you can't listen. If you're not humble, you think you're better than the people that you're representing, and you can't represent people effectively, in my opinion, when you think that you're better than them. And so, having the humility to understand that you're not always right, you don't always have the answers, but that you're there to be a servant leader will carry you a long way. And I think that that's probably the most important temperament or position of mind and spirit to have when holding a position such as this.
How would you handle
And any governmental matters that have to be addressed in Dover?
How would you prioritize overwhelming legislative, community, and other or a committee meeting?
Simply maintaining my composure and respect for the office of City Council, as well as respective colleague, having a conversation and dialogue with them after the actual meeting to ensure that we collaborate and understand each other's positions for the greater good.
Well, obviously, a district council person is focused primarily on their particular district. Council person at large has a citywide role. I think the candidate, the councilwoman.
Other things you could have done that didn't have you maybe pull a gun on a person. So my area of concern is